Hey everyone, welcome back to Daily Crypto. We're diving right into episode 8, and let me tell you, the crypto world has been anything but quiet lately. Lots of price action we gotta unpack.
Definitely some big moves happening, that's for sure. If you've taken a peek at the markets, you've probably noticed that things are, well, pretty red across the board.
Yeah, can't miss that sea of red. We're seeing some pretty substantial price drops for a lot of the major players.
Yeah.
I mean, Bitcoin, the OG, it's even taken a hit, down about 7.8%.
That's a significant dip for Bitcoin, no doubt.
Right.
And it's not alone. Ethereum, the number 2 crypto, it's down even more, over 16%. When you see big players like that dropping, it really sets the tone for the whole market.
It definitely feels like there's a wave of, I don't know, caution or maybe even fear running through the crypto world right now. And it's not just Bitcoin and Ethereum feeling it. BNB is down, let's see, about 8.1%. Solana's got a drop close to 16%. And XRP is pretty much in the same boat, down almost 16%. So yeah, it's pretty widespread.
It really does seem like a pretty broad pullback. And here's the thing, it's not just those, established blue chip cryptos that are taking a hit. The meme coins, which are usually all over the place anyway, even they're down significantly.
Yeah, those meme coins, they're usually the wild cards, right?
Yeah,
But even they haven't escaped this downturn.
that's right. Would you mind giving us a quick rundown of those meme coin drops, just to paint the picture?
Sure. So Shiba Inu, it's down almost 11%. Pepe sitting at a decrease around 13.5%. Bonk's got a drop of about 13.4%. And then there's Dog with Hat, down roughly 12%. Even Popcat, that cute little meme coin, it's seen a decrease of about 11%. So yeah, it really does feel like a risk-off mood has gripped the entire crypto market top to bottom.
Seeing this kind of synchronized downward trend across so many different types of cryptos, it really makes you wonder what's driving it. Got to be something bigger going on, something connecting all these dots, don't you think?
I think you're onto something there. There's got to be some underlying factors that are influencing this whole market, right? So what are we looking at here? What could be causing such a widespread shift?
Well, one major factor that's definitely worth considering is that Bitcoin mining hash rate. Did you know it just hit an all-time high?
Now, for our listeners who might be newer to the crypto world, a high hash rate basically means more computing power is being dedicated to the Bitcoin network. Now, on the one hand, that's good news for security, but on the other hand, I'm guessing there's got to be a potential downside here. What's the connection to the price?
You got it. You're exactly right. A higher hash rate definitely makes the Bitcoin network more secure. But here's the catch. In the short term, at least, it also means more competition among miners. Think about it. More miners are vying for the same rewards. And you throw in rising costs, like those new tariffs that are being slapped on US-based Bitcoin miners, and it creates this real financial pressure cooker for these guys.
So basically, these miners are squeezed, they've got increased competition and rising costs, and that forces them to.
Well, they may have to sell some of their Bitcoin holdings just to stay afloat. And when that happens, you get downward pressure on the price.
Wow. So the very thing that makes the network more secure, that increased hash rate, it might actually be contributing to the price drop because it's squeezing the miners. That's pretty ironic, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And it's not just happening in a vacuum either. Remember those circuit breaker events that got triggered in Asian and European markets? That's another piece of the puzzle.
Circuit breakers.
Mhm.
Now, those are those temporary trading halts that are meant to stop things from getting too crazy when markets are super volatile, right? But how do those events happening in traditional markets, how do they tie into this crypto downturn?
That's a great question. When circuit breakers are activated, it's a pretty clear sign that traditional markets are in a turbulent state. And that kind of uncertainty and risk aversion can spill over into crypto. People start getting nervous. And since crypto is still often seen as a higher risk asset, investors might decide, hey, let's cut back on our crypto holdings for now. And that selling pressure can lead to those price drops we've been talking about. It's even part of the reason Bitcoin dipped below $75,000.
So basically, it's not just what's happening within the crypto market itself. The overall global economic mood plays a role too.
Okay, interesting. Now, let's shift gears a bit and talk regulation. There have been some noteworthy developments on that front as well, right?
Absolutely. There's been a lot happening on the regulatory front. For example, Tether, one of the biggest issuers of stablecoins. Those are cryptocurrencies that are designed to maintain a stable value, usually pegged to something like the US dollar. Well, Tether's been having some interesting conversations with the US regulators. Yeah, I've been hearing about those talks. What's the gist of it? What are regulators focusing on with Tether?
It seems like the discussions are centered around Tether potentially operating more formally as a settlement currency. Now, that's a pretty big deal because stablecoins play a huge role in the crypto ecosystem. They're used all the time to facilitate trading. So, how those talks shake out could have some pretty big implications for the whole crypto market, for sure.
Regulation, or the lack of it, has always been a big factor influencing how the crypto market behaves. Everyone's waiting for some clarity. Any other regulatory news that's caught your eye?
Well, while the US is, still figuring things out with stablecoins, Hong Kong's taken a bit of a different approach. They recently made a move to allow licensed crypto firms to provide staking services to their clients.
Staking services. Okay. For anyone who's not sure what that means, can you give us a quick explanation? What is staking exactly?
Sure. Basically, staking is when you lock up a certain amount of your cryptocurrency to help support the operation of a blockchain network. And in return for doing that, for supporting the network, stakers can earn rewards. So Hong Kong's move here, it could potentially bring in more institutional investment and encourage more participation in certain cryptos within their jurisdiction. It just goes to show that different parts of the world are taking different approaches to regulating crypto. It's a mixed bag out there.
Yeah, it's a global patchwork of regulation, that's for sure. Speaking of institutional investors, let's talk Bitcoin ETFs. They've become a pretty popular way for big players to get involved in Bitcoin, haven't they? What's the latest on those?
Interestingly enough, Bitcoin ETFs in the US have actually been seeing net weekly outflows lately. That suggests that institutional investors who are increasingly using these ETFs to get into Bitcoin might be taking some profits or maybe even reducing their overall exposure to Bitcoin right now. And those outflows, they can definitely add to that selling pressure we've been seeing in the market.
So taking a step back is looking at everything we've talked about. The price drops across the board, the mining cost pressures, the global market jitters, the regulatory developments, and now these outflows from Bitcoin ETFs. It all adds up to a pretty complex picture of what's driving the crypto market right now.
It really does highlight the intricate interplay of all these factors, the technology, the economics, the regulatory landscape that are constantly shaping the crypto market. It's part of what makes it so volatile, but also so fascinating.
So for all of you listening out there trying to make sense of this ever-changing crypto world, I think the key takeaway here is that everything's connected. What happens in one corner of the crypto market can ripple out and affect the entire ecosystem. And what's happening in the wider world, in traditional markets, and with regulations, that can spill over into crypto too.
And that's why it's so important to stay informed and understand what's driving these changes. It's not enough to just watch the price charts go up and down. You got to understand the why. Why are things moving? What's behind those movements? That's what really helps you make informed decisions in this space.
So true. Knowledge is power, especially in crypto. Today, we've explored some of the big forces at play, but of course, there's always more to learn.
Absolutely. The crypto world never sleeps. It's constantly evolving, and we've only scratched the surface today.
Well, that brings us to the end of our crypto market deep dive for today. It's been a wild ride, with prices down for major cryptocurrencies and meme coins alike. We covered a lot of ground. The Bitcoin mining hash rate reaching an all-time high, the new tariffs that are putting pressure on U.S. miners, those circuit breaker events that sent ripples through global markets, the ongoing regulatory discussions around stablecoins like Tether, Hong Kong's decision to allow crypto staking, and the recent outflows from Bitcoin ETFs. It all points to one thing. The crypto market is a dynamic, interconnected web. So as you process all of this, think about what these rapid changes might mean for the future of the crypto space. It's a question worth pondering.
It definitely is. The future of crypto is being shaped right now, right before our eyes. How these market forces, regulatory developments, and technological advancements all come together, that's what's going to determine where crypto goes next.
For more real-time market updates and in-depth analysis, be sure to join us on Daily Crypto. We'll help you navigate this exciting world one episode at a time. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.